It's time to start the show. Off the top rope, 4-figure leg lock. Ric Flair with the chest chop. Haters wonder why I never tap.
Ladies and gentlemen, what is good? Welcome to another episode of Wrestling with Things. Do not forget to subscribe to us on YouTube at Wrestling with Things and like our Facebook page at Wrestling with Things to keep up with all our episodes on the sports and entertainment world. David Joseph, joined by my co-host as usual, Sammy Joseph, but we are joined by a very special guest, live in living color in quarantine form. This guy is a friend of mine. He is cultured. He is educated. He is royal. He is intelligent. Yeah, I'm gassing you up today. Wow. I haven't seen you in a while. He knows a lot about a little bit of everything. You name it, sports, entertainment, music. He has it in his mind. My man, Julien Williams. How are you, bro?
I'm well. Thank you. I can only hope I live up to you guys' expectations now when you say something like that. But I'm definitely well. Can you say that again? Sorry.
I have faith in you.
Thank you. And how about yourselves? Before we even get a conversation going forward.
Yeah, Sammy, want to reply first?
I've been good, man. I just, lucky for me, I get to, still be the workers out there. I get to be part of that club. So I just come work, get my food before everything closes down and then come home, man. There's not really much to do.
Fair.
Yeah, man. Me, not too much has. I'm not gonna be naive and say not too much has changed because everything's changed for all of us, obviously. Yeah. But primarily, I like to stay inside anyway. I'm mostly an introvert. But the game has changed, of course, because I've been working from home exclusively since this happened for obviously so many safety reasons. But it's weird because it's like. Your home is work and home is home, so everything's just totally blending in, and it's just very, very different. But it's not all totally bad. I'm just kind of look at the glass half full with some of what's going on.
I agree. I agree completely. It's good to just not go to work wearing your suit. Let's start with that. I'm calling people in my pajamas most of the time, so that there ain't nothing to complain about.
I hear that.
I like it.
Speaking of that, for those that are maybe watching that don't know you or what you do or some of your interests and what you're invested in, can you just give the audience a quick summary of what you do, what you're into, some current projects you're invested in real quick, Julien? Yeah,
I'm primarily invested in real estate. I own 2 houses now out in the Memphis, in the Tennessee area. Don't think I have money. It's cheaper real estate. It's definitely cheaper real estate over there compared to here, which is Boston. So let me start off with that. I'm primarily working in hospitality, Airbnb, short-term rentals, long-term rentals, property management, property development. I was fortunate enough to be in a small business that just did everything in terms of that. However, because it's in the hospitality industry, that has been hit, considering tourism is a part of that. And so the shockwaves come after, and now it's just a learning experience to just see what happens long term, I would say. It's one thing to have like a recession that would be similar to something like 2008, but considering a global pandemic where people can't even necessarily travel, go on a plane, see new places, that's different. That's different, and it affects a lot of people, big, small. And so I'm more curious in terms of seeing how it turns out, seeing what's affected. I can go on a rant. I swear I can, but I'm specifically curious just about what commercial real estate is going to do about that. When you look at restaurants, for instance, it's hard for me to see a lot of them survive long term given the circumstances. The food isn't made immediately. I'm not sure people might be as interested, and I know a lot of restaurants are already closing down as a result. So there's room for opportunity in some of these situations, though, because I can just see, long-term leases for like office spaces, again, commercial real estate, running for cheaper just because it's probably going to be harder to fill that. I'm also looking at malls where, because it's just going to be less foot traffic, how those are going to be affected. Just a lot in what that means for e-commerce. And so my interests are in real estate, but also in entrepreneurship and just trying to figure out how to turn one to two. And by that, I mean $1. So.
Okay, that was awesome. And just hearing what you just had to say there, it's clear that you're not just, invested in your passion. You're studying it. You're looking at the trends and research. You're doing your own research, and you're trying to get a gauge of what's to come or what some things you got to look out for. And I just think that's pretty cool. And also, real estate is just one of those businesses that, of course, there's always going to be work, and so many people actually, want to dip their toes in it. But I think a lot of people don't, at least from my personal experience, that to dip their toes in it, just kind of take it for granted a little bit and give up on themselves too quick. But shout out to you. You sound like you're doing homework a lot. Any just one or two main things you would tell to any aspiring people out there that might want to get into the field?
I would say listen to a professional. First and foremost, I think that's a mistake a lot of people tend to make, where they're like, you know what, I've seen, and I don't know if these are the names of the shows, but like, I've seen Home Makeover or this, that, and the other, and I think I can buy a house and do it myself. I think that's the wrong way to go about it. I think if you are not going to seek a professional, at least seek the research and try and figure out what's the best way about going about doing something. Because there are some people that just, go in and they have no idea what they're doing. They have to worry about holding costs, having like the wrong contractor, wrong real estate agent. There's a lot of things that can go wrong if you don't have a system and if you don't have a team, which is why I think having a professional just, helping to guide you, helping to give you advice, mentorship is one of the things. And then the second thing I would say is, just knowing when to take a break, when to stop, I would say, because the other problem is that some people just don't know when to stop, in the sense of, all right, it's not working, let me put more money into it. Let me see if I could just, keep going and do this, that, and the third. Sometimes it's just better to cut your losses. I can give a perfect example, actually. So the two places in Memphis, two duplexes, right? That was those all together. I had three properties, right? First place I bought was in Detroit my sophomore year. It's like $5,000 because Detroit is Detroit. So I'm looking at the pictures on Trulia, and I'm like, yo, I don't know what's going on, because this is me not necessarily knowing the neighborhood all the way. However, it was near the University of Michigan. So I was like, you know what? I can take this chance, because at worst case, I can, rent it out to students. But I was looking at the pictures just on the third, and I was like, I like this. I'm gonna put into it. And then sophomore year, again, don't take the assumption I'm rich. $5,000 is $5,000. However, that was like 1.5 years of like savings. You know what I mean? So it's nothing far-fetched. It's not like, I just bought this $1 million house. I put a 0% down. Nothing crazy. So eventually I buy it, contact a contractor that I'm like seeing good reviews on, because this is like my first time buying it long distance. I go there in person. So when I see the Trulia pictures, I'm like, yo, everything looks good, right? Front of the house, indoors, whatever. Man, I go to the back of the crib. There is a hole missing in the roof. Fam. I was tired.
Wow.
But that was a $5,000 mistake. And the reason why I say, learn when to quit, because I just kept putting money into it, and I pretty much sold it at a loss. I don't know how to say it within that. I sold it at a loss, because no one's buying that. Wrong neighborhood for the most part. I put too much money in it. I had to worry about holding costs. I had to worry about renovations. I had to worry about labor. And then me going from Boston to Detroit, plane wise, those travel costs in of itself. Because I'm looking at the airplane tickets. I'm looking at the cell phone conversations. I'm looking at the materials used, and I'm like, God damn.
Man.
But I remember the first time when I looked at the back of the house, and I'm not going to say I was going to cry, but it was more like, well, shit, like what? But I would say due diligence. It's instead of saying knowing when to, I'm gonna say due diligence. If I could change that, because you learn. Look, when you learn from your mistakes, that's the best lesson. And so that was something that happened to me. And I would say number one is, getting a professional, aka like having a good team behind you. And then number two, knowing when to stop, but more so due diligence. Just making sure what you're putting your money into is the right place. Because I didn't tell nobody. I thought I was about to come up real quick and be like, "Yup, look at me." No, didn't happen like that.
So would that Detroit experience be the worst thing you ever seen, or was there another area that was worse than that?
Baltimore.
More?
Yo, man, this is a sense where let me first say, every place I've been to, both some people say Detroit's a bad city, Baltimore's bad. I like every place I go to, man, because you can learn. You just learn when you travel. Like, there's no way you cannot learn something, right?
Yeah.
And so I just love the tenacity that people from Detroit have. Because at the end of the day, the people that did not leave, those are people, that just either didn't have the means, number one, and number two, just didn't know how to give up. And if you don't have the means and you're still able to survive, I have to respect that. And if you don't give up, I have to respect that.
Right.
My favorite NBA team all time, Bad Boy Pistons. So
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Yo, and mind you, that Micheal Jordan documentary, but I'm just like, yo, I can't hate him. I just love Bad Boys, man.
We gotta talk about that in a little bit, man.
Let's talk. Let's do it now. Let's talk about it. Go ahead, Sammy.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I need your side on this, because listen, I'm Team Isaiah all the way. I love Micheal Jordan. He's one of my idols. I look up to him. But listen, he's the GOAT, hands down. But,
oh my gosh.
But no, seriously. But I gotta side with Isaiah on this, man, because I'm a big advocate on keeping the same energy. And it didn't start out clean. I don't know why them Bulls members wanted it to end clean. I didn't get it. I didn't get what they were mad at.
I respect that. Jordan is not my GOAT.
Oh man.
I said what I said.
Who's your GOAT?
Yo, man, it's not LeBron either. And people give me a lot of flack for this, but as again, my favorite team all time, Bad Boy Pistons, because they kept the same energy during that dynasty. Let me say that. Favorite player of all time, and again, this is as Bostonian, Larry Bird, man. I just got to keep it G.
I ain't mad at
Larry Bird. I just got to keep it real. The dude has plenty of rings for self. You got to understand when you're in that sense of an all-star game, and then you just come for a 3-point contest with your whole your tracksuit on, and you're like, yo, which one of y'all coming in second? Energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you actually talk the talk and you walk the walk, that's my thing. Which, let me say, Jordan has done.
Thank you.
I give credit to where credit is due, but I just have to look at it in the sense of, here's a guy, that put on for my city. Here's a guy that, was an Indiana dude, and he stayed his tenure. And you don't see that often. You ain't see that with Jordan. Let me say that. We always say Chicago Bulls Jordan. We remove everything after.
Me personally, I don't remove nothing.
Fair to say?
No. That's fair. But me personally, I don't remove nothing. But let me just ask you this: How much 40-year-olds can still put up 22 points a game?
That's fair.
You know what I mean? That's why I got to call him the GOAT.
Okay. Look, all right. That's it. That's your only reason. Let's make sure.
No. I mean, that's not my only reason. But come on, think about it.
I could go on. I could look. Here's my other. The thing about these Jordan stands, aka you, sir. Oh man, every time he went to the finals, he won a ring. All right, I give you that. Every time you went to the finals,
fact.
But we have to account for the fact that it just means if you ain't make playoffs, you lost, bro. I don't care what you say. I think the fact that we look, and this documentary is only proving my point, because like we out here looking at Jordan as the GOAT, acting like his supporting cast was not hard, bro. Even when my man Dennis Rodman was putting up 0 points or just low numbers, single digits, how many rebounds did this man have? Let's 18. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about that.
No, that's true. 18.
And then we have to account for in today's day, because I hate when people are like, oh, you know, people get more rebounds than Dennis Rodman all the time. We got to also look at offensive rebounds. That's baller.
But let me ask you this though: was Micheal and Parrish not giving Bird that same type of effect?
I like that.
Rebounder wise,
I like that. And I respect that,
bro. Come on, bro.
Hold up. You are not wrong. And again, I have to refute to my emotional argument. I am a Celtic.
I know.
I don't care.
You the homer.
I don't care. I'm here to detract Jordan, not Larry. Jokes aside, though, you are correct in that sense, and I'll give you that. I'll definitely give you that.
Yeah.
But I just can't understand when we talk about who's the GOAT, because it's just different times. I can't say, yo, if LeBron was there during that era, he would have balled out, because he would have. But it was a different time. You can't say that, because you don't even know if he would have been the same person. Same way if like you're playing in like the 70s, like against the Wilt Chamberlain, for instance, I don't know if LeBron, aka the best load management, $1 million a year on his health, would be the same if he was playing in Chucks. You know, so
true.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe like if they had better technology, like they have now.
And those fouls were crazy too.
Yeah.
Those fouls were vicious.
And that's exactly what. And again, bad boy Pistons, because you got when you're hated by a league. Some part of me is like, yo, you did something right. You know,
exactly right. You know what I mean? And that was the same thing with the handshake. I was like, yo, I don't know why everybody is coming at this dude for the handshake. Like, listen, man, it didn't start clean. He wasn't going to end it clean.
Yeah, and as you said, keeping the same energy, that's gold, man. Because if I don't like you, I don't like you. Not much you can do past that point if you ain't changed your behavior.
I was telling Dave that earlier, and Dave was like, nah, he should have shook his hand. I'm like, nah, bro.
Nah. All I'm saying, I respect the fact about his consistency. I'm big on consistency.
Yeah.
However, we're talking about basketball here. All those years he was slapping Michael Jordan up, Michael Jordan still shook his hands, even though he didn't like him, and kept it moving. All I'm saying is he could have did the same thing.
That was on his side.
Slap Jordan off.
That was on his side, though. Ain't got nothing to do with IT, bro.
Yeah, he slapped up Jordan all those years, and Jordan still mustered up the courage to.
He didn't have to though.
You know that was a bad handshake though. Like, man, fuck you.
Hell yeah! But he did it. It's the thought that counts.
No, but here's the thing. If the roles were reversed and he didn't do it, Pistons wouldn't complain. They would be happy with that.
You might be right. You might be right because. Oh, you might be right simply for the fact because that would be on brand for them to be happy that he didn't give a damn. But ultimately, that's low sportsmanship, if you ask me. You could be pissed off and still dap someone up.
I don't pissed off. I don't think it's low sportsmanship, man. But you got to factor this in, man. This was a different type of rivalry than any other rivalry in basketball. Like, it was personal. There was vicious hits going on. You know, the guys really had a disdain for each other. It wasn't like Larry and Magic where they hate each other on court. But you know, they were doing commercials.
I will say, however, poor sportsmanship is poor sportsmanship. You know, however you look at it, it was like, yo, bro, you don't like each other and y'all playing the game. We know what it is. Like, it don't matter why. It is.
I think that was further than a game, bro. I think that was a war. That like, we didn't see basketball like that.
Yeah, you don't even see it like that these days. I wish we did. Part of me, that's also why part of me kind of likes Giannis. He's like, yeah, I'm not working out with none of y'all, bro. Like, I'm going against y'all. Like, why would I do that? I think it would be more fun that way, but that's me being petty. So.
Speaking of Giannis and the rest of them, you know, we hear a lot of different options about possibly trying to decide NBA champion and possibly continue the season. There's thoughts about, you know, possibly, you know, starting with the last 10 games. There's a rumor about, you know, renting a whole strip at Las Vegas for them to be able to stay in a hotel and be able to play at one location.
I think I've also seen the Disney Resort or Disney World in Florida. Yeah.
Few options have been circulating about them being in one set location, but are you optimistic about the game coming back?
Like this season?
Yeah,
I'm a worst case scenario kind of guy. So, like, I was in fantasy basketball. I was going to win. Let me say that first and foremost. I have my fantasy basketball belt. I can pull it out, but give me a second. But I was very mad, to say the least, because we had money down, and now because there's no
me too.
And you know, now this is like, they're all like, yo, I don't want to pay. I'm not paying, even though I was first place. Never lost. In my best ball impression. However, I already took the assumption that it's just not going to be a thing this season, just because I don't want to get my hopes up. No NBA is just like, wow. I feel like something's missing, to say the least. You know, just in terms of like having that opportunity to be with friends, just watch, you know, have that argument. Yo, you know, the Bucks are going to win the East. Lakers versus Clippers, just a lot in that sense. Even though the Celtics were going to take it all, but it is what it is in that sense. But I would be surprised, because the longer this goes, the more I feel bad for people, such as LeBron, such as Chris Paul, just older basketball players that might Vince Carter, you know, probably his last year, bro. That sucks, you know, where you don't have a proper send-off. Those kind of things just don't sit right with me. And so I just look at in that endeavor where, like, you might be pressed for time, or you just had plans and it was just cut short, you know. And I think that's something that I am not happy about. And if they do play this season, I don't think it'll be the same. You know, can Jonathan Isaac come back? Can Klay Thompson come? Like, how does this work? You know, like, Durant. Fuck around and see John Wall. I don't know. Straight up, just don't. There's a lot in my mind. And then the other thing is, I would have loved to have seen, you know, just someone win, you know, preferably the Lakers, because of obvious reasons, just out of remembrance for Kobe. I'm not sure it'll be the same if it happens next year versus this one, but this is a year where, like, we've lost a lot, and a lot has happened in the NBA, just in general. So I would like, you know, for basketball to be for this season, but if not, I would hope, you know, that helps for the players, you know, just for their health. Just for the fans, just because I don't want a worst case scenario where, you know, COVID-19 just happens to be a thing during that time, and it's directly caused by people being in an arena due to the NBA playing. So I think that's what it is, really. Better safe.
You don't like the thought of them having a season without fans? Because I think basketball, you could get away with an empty arena. It'll be like playing in the playground again.
even street ball has people watching. You know, pickup games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, but you know what I mean.
There has to be an audience.
Unless you like come with a set amount of friends. You know, if you're like at a local YMCA or like at a street ball, like you know there's gonna be people like, yo, I'm trying to play too. You know, can I get dibs? Yeah. Whoever went. So I don't know, man.
And then somebody making noises when a dunk happens, like, oh, you gotta have something, man.
It's not just people. It's gonna be quiet. The bench is gonna be dancing.
Yeah.
They not. I'm just like,
I will take that over no season at all. I don't care. I'll take it.
I say just shut it down, man. Like, wait for next season. Just have a fresh start. You know.
But again, I'm just like, I feel robbed. Someone should win.
You should feel robbed.
We have to have a champion.
There's no one to blame. In my mind. But like, don't sit here and be like, yo, I don't like. It's just, fam. Because at the end of the day, these basketball players are putting their health at risk when they play. You know,
True.
Not as much as necessarily maybe like fighting sports or football, but nonetheless, the fact that they play, you know, sometimes 2-3 times a week, you know, at the length that they do, at the intensity they do, it's really important to say, you know, you guys earned something. And you know what else this does, right? When Adam Silver was just talking about kind of making this basketball format similar to soccer, I'm like, you know what? Maybe a midseason tourney might do something, because you never know. Look, lo and behold, there is no end of the season. And at least if there was a midseason championship, it might just help in the sense, like, at least someone won something during the season.
Yeah, true.
So
right.
I never think I'd have said that, but shit.
Drastic times call for drastic measures. I feel that. I feel that. Right.
I'm for shutting it down, man. Just shut it all the way down.
Yeah, I think whatever decision is made, I'll support it. You know.
Right. Ultimately, whatever happens, I might disagree with it, but I'll support it, because health does come first. But speaking of health coming first, something that has decided to continue is obviously pro wrestling. A lot of controversy on social media. They're wrestling in empty arenas. Hear me out. There seems to be a large group of fans that are pointing the finger, saying it's unsafe for them to continue tapings and events. And then there's another portion that's a little grateful that they have some type of entertainment from wrestling. Where do you stand, Julien? What do you think about wrestling being an essential business?
First and foremost, it is not essential. It is not essential business. The videographers are not essential videographers. Those announcers are not essential announcers. But it is something.
It's something.
It's something. I'm just like, first, I'm just like, yo, Vince McMahon is crazy. I think we can all agree to that, right? I don't think there's anyone that can argue otherwise.
I love him.
But you got Monday Night Raw, you got NXT, and you got SmackDown.
Yeah.
And it is just, it's going.
He finds a way.
Let me say this. 2 accounts. Number 1, WWE Boneyard match. Look, if it wasn't for COVID-19, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that.
Nah, I'm not letting them get away with that. I'm not letting them get away with that.
First and foremost, I just want to say, you know, thoughts and prayers out to everybody affected by COVID-19, you know. But if it wasn't for COVID, there never would have been a Boneyard match. AJ Styles versus Undertaker. True. And I lived for it. And I lived for that. I was happy.
Me too.
You know, I definitely did like that Boneyard match. I'm on the fence about the Bray Wyatt John Cena. A little too much. I thought I was taking shrooms or something, but I don't like that thumbs down for the Boneyard match. That was fire. That was cinematic.
No.
There's no way you could say with a straight face that you wasn't entertained by the Boneyard match. It was engaging. It made Undertaker look strong.
Okay.
It made AJ look great in defeat. It was original. You can't tell me that it was not entertaining.
Here's the thing. I gave them 1 thumbs down. I'm giving Cena and Bray Wyatt 2 thumbs down.
Cena and Bray Wyatt it was more of a segment. Yeah. That's why that was my problem. Had they, you know what I was hoping with the Cena Bray Wyatt? I was hoping they did all the mind game stuff, but ultimately he would drag them to the ring and they would culminate in some type of physicality. But I was mad that there was no physicality. But the Boneyard match, I have no complaints. What did you hate, Sammy?
This is what I hate.
That is the question.
This is what I hated about it. You guys see, if you guys ain't watching the WWE Network, you see he's coming out with the documentary. This man might be gone, bro. We don't know if we're gonna see this man again. He might be dead. He might be finished. Let him finish his career in the ring, duking it out like a regular, fight. Give it a no holds barred or something. Give it some type of stipulation in the ring where your career's on the line. Do something like that. Don't do some type of I'm gonna be honest with you. Fight where he's just punching and kicking the whole time, not doing no spectacular moves. Let him get all his moves out at least.
You are a hater and you're disrespectful.
It's not a hater. I'm traditional,
you
bro.
You want to know why the Boneyard match was probably the best thing for The Undertaker during these times? He is up there in age. And we've seen the Goldberg match, bro. I'm not sure if there's a worker outside of AJ Styles or...
AJ could have carried him. In that ring,
when you're the Undertaker, do you want to get carried? Let's be honest.
If it's your last match,
that's a good question.
If it's your last match, bro, he's always been doing the carrying. Let him be the other guy.
We look at when Undertaker was facing John Cena. What was it like? I don't know if it was. It was short.
That was like seconds.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because you just can't. What is there to carry long? Like, what is the length of the match you think it would work? 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
15. Give him a regular 15 traditional class.
I don't even know if he has the cardio. And I'm not trying to disrespect. I'm not even trying to disrespect. Like I said, if you
you both are disrespected the man in your own ways. I'm not.
No, I'm not.
Dave, I didn't go this far. I think you could do 15. I think you could do 15.
The Undertaker, when you summon him for a big match, he's going to give you a performance still. I agree with Julien that you don't want him in there for a long time. I think 10 minutes tops. But I think the Boneyard match was the best case scenario, considering the pandemic, considering his age, considering what you have to work with. It hit his weaknesses perfectly. It was art. It was art, actually.
I did not want to see this man just sit there and punch and kick the whole time. Let him get.
He wasn't just punching and kicking though. He was out here fighting. It was him versus everybody.
Yeah, come on, man.
He's out here fighting Luke and Gallows in Mercenary number 1, 2, 3, 4.
Undertaker didn't take one real bump though.
The whole time.
Yo, Undertaker kept this. He thought he was slick, bro. He didn't take one real bump
the whole time.
Let AJ possibly hit this man anywhere, and that 10 to 15 minute match, bro. I don't want to see that. If Undertaker gonna win, he has to win absolutely. He has to win absolutely. And AJ Styles' stock, in my opinion, is way too high for something like that to happen inside the ring. However, when there's no fans to boo or cheer, and you're just seeing it for what it is, you have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy it. Because you don't look at it as a wrestling match anymore. Because of that cinematic value, you look at Undertaker like as a magical bro.
He's not that no more, bro. We know he's not that. He's
he
not
will
that.
always be that.
He is not magical no more, bro.
This man
he lost
AJ,
that magic WrestleMania 30, bro. Let's
this man
keep it
AJ
real.
thought he buried Undertaker. I don't know what Undertaker did. I don't know if he killed Bill his way out the coffin. I don't know if he teleported or whatever.
They recorded it the next day with him off
Mind
of the
your business. Mind your business.
Real talk. Mind your business.
They recorded it the next day.
You know what it is? You know what it is? You know what it is? He's taking too much realism into this aspect when it's sports entertainment.
No.
You're not giving the
That's
same
his
energy.
problem, Julian.
No.
That's his problem all the time.
But it's a regular
This is
wrestling.
his problem.
No.
Did you ever question when the lights turn off and the lights turn on and Undertaker is there and he's not there?
No, absolutely not.
But
No,
now you
that's
question it.
cool,
Oh,
and
it
we
was the
like
next.
it.
It was the next day.
No. That's something totally different.
Bro,
That's
you want
totally.
Undertaker. You want Undertaker and the American Badass because he was a mix of both, in my opinion.
I didn't even want to see that. As a matter of fact, I didn't even want to see that.
I think
But in the context, once again, in the context of the story, it was done beautifully. He could not confront AJ as the dead man. He had to make a hybrid of himself, the man, in the dead
AJ
man.
called him on a first name basis.
Yeah, he had to confront him as a man. It makes the perfect sense.
No, that is exactly why I would have rather something traditional in the ring where he just beats him with a couple of weapons.
Why? There's nobody in the arena.
That's the other thing. You don't want the Undertaker, in my mind, to win through those kind of means.
You don't want that? I would have rather them beat him down with a bunch of weapons to a bloody pulp. And then let him get the victory. I can't
for the life of me remember like the last time, like wholeheartedly, when the Undertaker, not like the American Badass, but the Undertaker used weapons to get over in a match. You know,
the Hell in the Cell with Brock Lesnar.
No. And look at what happened though.
That was a great match. You didn't like that match?
Brock Lesnar won. You got to keep that wrestling.
But it was a well thought out match.
I think so. But in hindsight, when you just look at it from the span of like Brock Lesnar's career, it's just like he did everything he could and still lost. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
So like when I look at the Boneyard match, here's AJ who quite literally did everything he could and still lost. If that doesn't put the Undertaker over, I don't know what does. Hear me out. If this is your last memory, your last memory of the Undertaker winning was him beating AJ, beating Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson.
That's a bad memory, bro.
Beating Mercenary. Well, look.
That's a bad memory, bro.
He beat him so bad, they'll never be in the company again. Shout out to Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. NJPW, one of the best tag teams in that wrestling circuit. WWE killed them, but that's beside. But they also have a fire theme song, as of recently. But and you don't mind if I segue. These layoffs are sad.
That's where I was going, so this is perfect.
Yeah, these layoffs are. But we gonna have to talk outside. I think we need liquor in the system if we're gonna talk about this Boneyard match because I really want to know what's hurting you and that sounds like something else.
It sounds like a personal problem.
It's not nothing personal. I just saying, by me watching the WWE Network and seeing that this could be the end of this man, and that is the last thing we might get from him. That's what bothers me.
To be honest,
a gimmicky match where
that, I don't want that to be his last match, but if he did, that would be the best lasting memory ever.
So
he's too iconic for it.
So before
that was iconic.
That was not iconic, bro.
Oh my God.
That was not iconic, bro. In the history of wrestling, you watched WrestleMania for too long for you to say that was iconic.
You've watched wrestling for too long to discredit the storytelling and the elements.
I like the Mike and back and forth storytelling. I didn't like the match.
So what do you think? My question to you guys, what do you think would be the best way for him to go out match-wise?
Honestly, I think now after that WrestleMania, the best absolute way. I don't care.
Want him again?
Yo, this guy has a problem. I think
that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking.
Hear me out. I think after seeing WrestleMania, the best possible way for him to go out is a boneyard match against Sting. I don't care what anyone says.
What?
Match against Sting.
Look, ask the question. So I ain't gonna...
Last one.
So what about you, bro?
What about you, Sammy?
Dude, like I said, I would have the same way that all the classic people went out, like Ric Flair, Shawn. Let it happen in the ring. Give it at least 15 minutes. Put as much creative ideas as you can, and then let him look good and let him hit him with some weapons and get in the ring. If he can't take bumps, just let. So
what you're saying is you wanted a boneyard match in a ring.
No, I wanted
that would have been worse.
I wanted a traditional.
This man just said you want him to go out on top. You want him with a bunch of weapons. You want him to look strong.
They didn't do that in the boneyard. How much weapons?
They did all of that.
How much weapons?
That's exactly what they did.
Use a tractor. What more do you want from the man?
Oh, come on, man.
He's spamming people on cars. What more do you want from this man?
Come on, man.
That fighting on rooftops. Lusa had to jump.
Nah, man. I want the traditional Undertaker moves. Give me the leg drop. Give me the dive somewhere.
I'm done.
Give me the Hell's Gate.
You want the Undertaker to dive?
I don't know. AJ would have made it work, bro. I think we're discrediting what AJ could do for people.
You know,
AJ would have made it work.
I think would have been a fire match. Now that I'm thinking about it, looking at the boneyard match, triple threat. Undertaker, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar.
Nah, get out of here. That's too much. That's too much.
He needs to avenge that.
that would be some shit.
Close it, full circle. Vince, book it.
And then if Undertaker wins, they erase those losses.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't want to see him come back, man. Stop throwing out ideas.
I never want him to come back.
Stop throwing out ideas, man. I don't know.
I think a Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Undertaker triple threat, boneyard, or in the ring. It don't matter as long as the Undertaker win, bro. Yo, David, would you want to see that low key?
I now that you put it that way, if they were to finagle something like it would erase his loss, it would interest me a little bit.
And then here's another thing, right? Say if Roman Reigns is SmackDown champion, Brock Lesnar Universal champion, both belts on the line, and then Undertaker wins. He puts both belts over the shoulder. Then you hear the ding.
Now you want to see him with championship
and then
belts.
It's on the floor.
Now you want to see him with
He just vacated. Immediately after he went, like he just took it was dumb. It was dumb. Double champ. I'm out.
Now you want to see him hold some belts, man. If I was the guy in the locker room, I'd feel disrespected.
I said dream match. Yo, if you in the locker room and you're not a top star, you should be disrespected. You've already been thrown under the bus by one of these dudes. Let's be honest.
True.
At least make it a big fashion. You lost? Oh man, that'd be hilarious. I know I'm crazy for that, but that'd be hilarious.
Yo, so let's talk about those layoffs. Do you think there was a lot of people are playing the card like WWE's the bad guy for laying those people off? Do you think that makes WWE look bad by the optics?
It makes them look bad, but I don't look at it as a bad thing. Yo, EC3 was wasted.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Heath Slater, 3MB prophecy.
He'll be back.
And if he does come back, he needs to win a belt. 3MB prophecy, man.
Yeah.
Jinder Mahal, Drew McIntyre. I got kids. I got belts. That needs to be the new slogan once he wins. I look at Rusev. I just think this whole, let's be honest, the Lana Lashley angle ruined him for me.
Right?
Rusev should have been pushed years ago when he was like over, like organically at that. So I have a problem with that. There's just a lot of wrestlers. So I'm just like, you know what? You hopefully you'll be on some greener pastures. Zack Ryder, woo woo woo. Maybe they can make the internet champ a gimmick, like an actual belt. Because I never understood why he didn't have like
no more. Zack Ryder is.
But that's
wasn't he in a tag team before he got released?
Yeah. But what did it mean? You know, you won the tag team titles WrestleMania, and you got squashed. Let's be honest. you got squashed. No, it was a cheap way to get people happy. But at the end of the day, like, you know, it didn't mean anything. You guys still were a trash tag team, respectfully, because that's what they wanted to paint you as. That's what they wanted to paint you as. You know, you guys won. I don't know. Officially, you lost. And so I think there's a lot of wrestlers that are happy about this. You know, Brody Lee, Luke Harper in WWE. You know. Perfect 10.
Harper ain't doing shit on AEW. I'm sorry.
What was he doing?
What is he even doing?
He ain't doing
nothing. Watch the Dark Order. But do you watch AEW?
I do watch AEW.
I'm in and out. I'm in and out. I gotta be honest.
That's for good reason. You know, I think competition just helps. Especially on a large platform. So I like AEW. I think what Brody Lee is doing in terms of his promos is straight up digs at Vince McMahon and WWE for just misusing him, putting him under, burying him, truly. And so let me just first say, give it time. AEW is still a new brand for the most part. I was fortunate enough to say that I went there in Boston. At Boston University, because I was like, I got it. Because this was during the tag team tournament. Because I liked Private Party. I liked bro, best tag team division, any promotion. I don't care what anyone says. You have the Young Bucks. You have the Lucha, bro. Yep.
WWE has been kind of lacking a little bit.
Yep. They trashed the tag team. NXT has a better tag team division than them. Even though it's part of the WWE brand, we all look at it as separate from the brand. Let's be honest. But like, you have the Lucha Bros, Young Bucks. I think arguably number 1 and number 2 best tag teams on the planet.
What is the appeal of the Young Bucks? Seriously, I need this broken down for me, because I gotta tell you, I always watch with an open mind, because I want AEW to flourish. Like you said, competition is good. I want them to flourish.
I like them.
So I don't see the appeal of the Young Bucks at all. I think they're very, very hyped. They're not believable. They do a lot of sequences that aren't the most believable.
So I think you don't like the overabundance of spots. I think you probably think they're spot monkeys. So can I ask you what is your preferable like tag team style before like I actually go into what I like AEW in terms of the tag team division?
My preferable tag team style is a team that complements one another. New Day, Biggie will do his power. Xavier and Kofi will do their, the bigger spots and the flashy moves. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like teams like that, and they ultimately got the charisma and
they all got
cohesiveness. Yeah. I think we're selling the New Day short. They're arguably one of the best tag teams of the past decade. I would not say any team in AEW is better than them. I think we're taking their consistency a little bit for granted.
No, but that's an individual teim. You can't.
I can keep going.
That's fine.
Keep going.
Keep going. Yeah, I was about to say keep going.
Yeah. Give me more.
I really think we really take the Usos for granted. They've been very consistent.
They're
over
good.
the last 10+ years.
Yep.
We can't sleep on some of the teams that have still been, consistent for longer periods of time.
Yeah, and then just give me one more.
Give you one more?
Yeah.
I gotta kind of think about the landscape real quick.
It's rough.
Give me one more tag team that you semi-like.
Undisputed Era. They're really good.
Yeah. And this is, again, the NXT brand.
That's the NXT.
To me, NXT's WWE.
No, it's not the same, bro. It's not the same.
No. You're completely correct. You know, it's not the same in the sense that if we look at it at face value, Vince hasn't touched it, right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we look at New Day, they sell merch.
Yep.
Which is why, like, their gimmick which is why their gimmick has been the same over the course of their time. I to this day think Big E deserves a singles run, just because of his NXT work.
Oh yeah.
You know, they did the same for Xavier Woods. I would love to see Big E in that sense. But here's as to why I like the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros. I cannot say this enough. Number one, pure athleticism. All right? When you just look at it in the sense of the spots that they do, even though you don't like the sequence, the fact that they're able to pull that sequence off live, and for the most part consistently, I have to respect it. You know? Secondly, if you're a fan of Zack Ryder, I do think you should be a fan of Being the Elite, because not only do you get a product in AEW as a tag team for them inside the ring, but you also get to see what they do outside the ring. The Being the Elite episodes are what really attracted me to them in the first place. When they were wrestling across several different promotions, I'm like, yo, who are these people? Third, and this is what's important to me, they have fought. This is what, you know, independent promotions do besides WWE. WWE, you fight WWE. Young Bucks, NJPW, you know, Luchadors. I'm actually saying Luchadors like that's a promotion. But they're, you know, wrestling in Mexico, Ring of Honor. These are, you know, people that have wrestled all over the world, truly. And I don't mean all over the world under one banner, like all over the world against other tag teams. So when you build a brand like that, there's not much of an argument you can say, because at that point, you're building chemistry. You're saying, New Day has chemistry with each other. You know, Big Guy, Big E, charismatic Xavier Woods. I'm looking at it in the sense of these are guys that are having chemistry broadly through everybody. And I think that's really important. For your brand as a team and what it means when you're able to wrestle anyone. You can't say you're the best tag team in the world if you don't wrestle everybody in the world. And
I see what you're saying, but I can't agree with that.
Well, we can get into that, and just give me a second, right?
I understand, though.
And then the other thing is that because AEW, in my personal opinion, because they're new, so it's fresh matchups. I think that's what the reason why I'm saying this is that because they have fresh matchups, you just see the talent that they're having matches against. Private Party, for instance, I love Best Friends. Do you know what I'm talking about? I love the hug and then the camera angle when it just zooms in.
Yeah,
bro. I love that, and I'm mad WWE. You know, because you just see the crowd, they just bite it up, you know. But the fact that the Young Bucks have an identity, these are two dudes trying to be like two brothers, saying they're the best in the world, and they're trying to prove it every match, and you see it in every match. And I think that's why I like it. Everything you see, you know, you get. And then the fact that they give you that backstory as supplemental information, again, being the Elite, with them, Kenny Omega, Cody Rhodes, like just the whole like Elite, like everything. I love it as a whole, and that's really what it is with me.
Oh, I feel that. Those are very, very valid reasons, and I will give you that. They bust their ass when they're performing. They don't cheat you with their performance. But I've been hearing best tag team. I've heard for the last year and a half, Kenny Omega's the best wrestler in the world. I'm hearing this best label being thrown on these people that haven't even gotten over yet. Let them get over with a global audience before we say that. They're not global yet. You gotta be global before you say that.
And we got a few wrestlers who could do what Kenny Omega can do.
Yeah, Kenny Omega got character, bro. Kenny Omega's boring.
Kevin Owens.
I think Kenny Omega is a great wrestler. I don't think he has the charisma. You're completely correct. I listened to his promos, and I'm not going to say they put me to sleep. but you just don't have a sense of connection in that sense. However, I do respect his theme song, which states "the best bout machine." He is consistent, and you know what it is? AEW, scary enough, has a lot of moves I'm uncomfortable with.
Yeah, they be doing
a lot of spots. A lot of spots.
And so let me just say that they have a lot of moves, but this is why I tune in. This is why I tune in, because I'm like, yo, because part of you is like, yo, I hope nothing happens. The other part of you is like, well, if something does happen, I seen it. You know, just so you could say, yo, did you see what yada yada? And it just brings that nostalgic feelings of like OG ECW. You not saying that they're anything alike, but when you like see like the spots that are like happening, you're like, is it? Because you know what it does? It gives you that it peels back that kayfabe where you're just like, oh, you know, in WWE he's gonna be safe, you know, because mistakes happen in WWE. In AEW, they are definitely worrying me in that. Cody Rhodes, for instance, you know, he's putting his health at risk all the time. You know, taking that chair shot, for instance. I was like, God, man.
That moonsault from the top of the cage, that was really dangerous.
And they blade themselves. You know, I'm not a big fan of blading.
I don't like.
In retrospect, just because of what it does, you know, in terms of like scarring you, but more importantly, that blood, I'm just uncomfortable with that. Just because, but again, this is something that they choose to do, and so I just have to respect it as is. But I think the fact that Kenny Omega with like the Snapdragon, when he like just pretty much like puts you.
I like that. I'm not gonna lie, I like that.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like
it always looks great on TV when he does it. I like it.
My point, though. So there are moves that he does. One Winged Angel, for instance. I'm not sure if you guys know, but if you take that move improper, I would be very worried. And the reason why it's so protected is, you know, WWE would not do that. Just be like, you know, they just would not allow that move.
Absolutely not.
And so I'm not disagreeing you, because I would say, like, you know, there are other wrestlers that are able to do what Kenny Omega does, but I think the reason why he gets that title of being one of if not the best wrestler is because he does do what he does. And I'm not sure, nothing comes to mind. I'm sure someone can prove me wrong, but because he does it and he doesn't necessarily injure his opponent. I think safety is another reason why people say.
That's true.
So I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's definitely a part of being good at your craft. Sammy, you got something to say?
That's true, but honestly, when it comes to AEW in the ring, I think they can go toe-to-toe with any company out there, honestly, like, because in the ring they know how to definitely put on a performance. But what I think they're missing is a go-to guy. Like, they definitely need somebody who is gonna be that guy you can just put on posters and put everywhere and make them go do like a Jimmy Kimmel or a Jimmy Fallon type of show. They're gonna need somebody like that.
He's old, but they have him. I think after this body of work, I will call him the greatest wrestler of all time.
You're talking about Jericho?
I don't know what a GOAT is, but I do know what the greatest of all time is, and I would say Chris Jericho, bro.
Oh, I'm about to leave.
Way too old. He's way too old. I know why you're saying that, because he's entertaining every week. He's been the most. It's sad that he's been the most consistent entertainer, like, all around. Bro. But he's too old.
And he's still not marquee like that. Honestly,
you put Chris Jericho
in his prime, he was never like a
big attraction.
Yo, man, Chris Jericho is that dude. I don't know what to say.
Absolutely,
he is.
I will say,
Hall of Famer.
In my opinion, I was fighting it. I'm not gonna lie, right? I was fighting it, but after AEW, he puts himself over every promotion. He's the most I will say he's the most charismatic wrestler that I can think of, like historically. And I've been looking at wrestling.
Rocky? He's really up there.
Bro.
Over Rocky?
When Rocky tried to put over Roman Reigns, we've seen the result.
That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. Nobody could get Roman Reigns over.
He didn't have enough time. He didn't have enough time for that, bro. It was just a 5-6 minute performance.
Chris Jericho could make it work.
Oh man.
Chris Jericho can make anything work. That's the best.
This is why I've been fighting it, because I'm like, I'm looking in retrospect. Whenever this man was getting dull, what did he do? Let's be honest.
He always reinvented himself. He did. He's the best at that.
Bro, I can't think of another wrestler that reinvents himself and not so. The fact that he does it and makes it work. The fact that he can turn heel or face and makes it work. You look at the people he's faced. Shawn Michaels, that beef, bro.
Yes. Yeah.
Bro.
Classic. Super classic.
I just look, and I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, fam, and you're right, he's old, and he's still doing the lion soul. Put some respect on this man's name.
True.
The stables, like the Inner Circle. I'm looking at the Bubbly Bunch. Have you seen that as of recently? Oh man, you guys need to see that. The fact that now he is Le Champion, or when he had the AEW, there's just the list of Jericho.
Yep. Yeah.
Like Y2J, fam. This is
he
a
has
man.
So many versions, and they're all over. He's always been over.
He is. No, he definitely is the best at coming back, even when it looks like it's over for him. But I gotta say, to call him the greatest, it's a beef. It's because think about it. Guys like Rocky, guys like Austin, they don't gotta reinvent themselves. They could be themselves all day, every day.
Well, Austin did reinvent himself. Rocky did reinvent himself. Rocky, Maivia, when he had the curly hair, Nation Domination.
I'm talking about when he's
Nation's Domination. Ringmaster for Steve Austin. I'm just saying. When they
got to Stardom, though, did they have to reinvent themselves after that? That's not
the let's be honest. Actually, hear me out. They left while they were on top.
True.
Rocky was 32 when he went what I'm saying? Started really taking the act serious. Steve Austin, by definition, couldn't necessarily wrestle because his body.
What about Cena?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
What about Cena?
Fuck Cena. I'm sorry. First reaction. Look, I'm a Bostonian. I love Cena. Fuck Cena.
He didn't have to do it when he
Cena carried the brand for 10 years.
Yeah.
Again, I give credit to where credit's due, bro. Straight up. I just seen a picture of John Cena at the hospital for Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he's still making wishes come true. He still has a heart of gold. I still consider him a consistent worker. He's also a safe wrestler. I remember he had that match with Shinsuke Nakamura, back exploder or something like that, like the move specifically, and Cena landed wrong. And that's because he didn't know Shinsuke's Nakamura's actual moveset per se. And then Vince pretty much was about to bring the hammer to Shin, but Cena was like, yo, that's my fault. And so I think he's a locker room leader. I don't think he's in anyone's, greatest wrestler of all time, unless you're of this generation.
He's top 5 dead or alive. Cena?
I hear you.
And again,
I'm not going to argue it. See, my top 5 is biased, though. So I'm not sure. Because, all right, I'll entertain that. I'll entertain that.
Go ahead. Top 5 wrestlers of all time. Go ahead.
Number 1, no particular order except number 1, Chris Jericho. And I can actually continue to go on. But after number 1, no particular. Hulk Hogan is not on the list for things that he said.
He's on my list too.
Well, as an African American male, I would suggest you rethink that.
He's on my list. He gotta be, bro.
I respect it. Again, I respect it. I respect it. I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna argue because you're looking at it in the lens of wrestling, but sometimes it's hard for me to separate that. And so Hulk Hogan is not on my list.
He ain't on mine either.
You guys,
I don't care what lens it is. He ain't
I'm not disrespectful. Hulk Hogan is. I was a fan until he made me not a fan. You see what I'm saying? You can only
the WWE forgave him. Why can't we? Come on, man.
No.
Why can't we?
The WWE stood to gain financial value, especially when they got that oil money of a shit show they call Crown Jewel. So NWO was his best work. I do agree with you in the sense that Hulk Hogan deserves to be in the top 5. I said I was biased straight up. He's not in my top.
True.
Ric Flair.
Yes.
Hip-hop community loves him.
Absolutely.
He's not on my list. Boom! I got you!
Wow.
Because he's also said things. He's also said Teddy Long has said that. And
Teddy Long?
Teddy, yup.
We're going to believe Teddy?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Come on.
Teddy has no reason to lie. But
out of all the black people that like Rick, we're going to believe Teddy?
Who's the black people that like, look, if you're the black person that likes Rick because you have no choice, otherwise you're risking your brand. And you're probably still wrestling.
No, Booker T is cool with Rick.
Booker T's on my list. Booker T's on. I'm glad you said that. Booker T's on my list. Harlem Heat.
Underrated.
I will always say that they did that man wrong just because he was on another brand. They never really give him the respect that was due. But that is also a man where he reinvented himself in the sense of King Booker. Mm-hmm. I loved it.
I love it.
King. My voice kind of hurts, but so I'm not gonna really. Yeah, but I do like Booker T. He's iffy on my list just because one of my personal favorite wrestlers, like in their prime, Shelton Benjamin. In terms of like wrestling prowess, bro, he was really that dude. They brought him back for reasons, unbeknownst to me. I don't like his more recent work, but all right, yeah, Booker T's on my list. Steve Austin's on my list immediately. Again, obvious reasons for what he's done. And what's crazy is when you look at his matches, it's really his charisma that carries the match. It's not his moveset. It's not his moveset. So that
the best wrestlers, like that's usually the case.
Yep. And so that's why I think it's important, and which tells me you really don't need to be the greatest wrestler, the most athletic wrestler, the most even necessarily the most consistent wrestler. So there's that. Rocky, the Rock, Dwayne Johnson, Scorpion King, the new face of Fast and Furious. He's the most entertaining wrestler because he's the most entertaining actor as of right now. And so he actually puts on for the brand. He could have done everything wrong, and he did not. I think that's important. I think I listed 4. Chris Jericho, Booker T, Steve Austin, The Rock. Number 5. Oh man, I have a lot of dudes. I'm going to say Okada. I'm going to do that. I'm going to say Okada and JPW. Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
I don't know his work too much, but I hear his name.
Yeah, I've heard him.
So I'm going to say that because I could have done, all right, for instance, if I was going to go WWE in general, I would say Mankind, because it wasn't Undertaker that put Mankind over in that match. It was Mankind that put Undertaker over in that match because he took that bump. And this is a man that had 3 entrances in the Royal Rumble. Has 3 different people.
He was willing to take anything, man.
Yeah, I have to respect it.
That's a healthy list. I ain't mad at the list, though.
I'm sure people can debate I hope people don't debate Chris Jericho, but I'm sure people can debate Booker T or Mankind. There are plenty of dudes that I really liked. RVD, Shawn Michaels. I think Shawn Michaels can be in anyone's top 5. Triple H, because of what he's done outside of wrestling. Personally, I never liked that Booker T Triple H feud. I think Booker T should have went over. I think Booker T should have went over for obvious reasons. I don't like how that was
Booker T.
Bro,
why would you let Booker take that?
I suggest you rewatch that because there was some racial
Triple H
undertones.
was at the prime of his power.
There was some racial undertones I was really not feeling, bro. I was really not feeling. I'm gonna keep it real with you, man.
But that was when Triple H was in his prime, though. You gotta let him say that.
I ain't arguing with you. Triple H could have had a different way to set up that feud. That's all I'm saying.
It was good heel heat.
It was perfect, though. It was perfect.
It was definitely good heel heat because if I was older and I seen Triple H in person, I'd hate him. I'd hate him because I ain't gonna say I'm gonna fight him. Obviously, Triple H in his prime was Triple H in his prime. I ain't dumb. But yeah, there's plenty of wrestlers, and I think it changed. I think it changes all the time, just because I just look at past work, like JBL. I like his character.
Yeah.
So many to choose
Eddie
from.
Guerrero, Rey Mysterio. I can, Kurt. I actually disrespect myself. I'm gonna switch anyone.
Kurt Angle is way better than Jericho.
Yeah,
if we're being honest.
Let me ask this though, because me and Dave was actually having a debate similar to this not too long ago on the show about Brock Lesnar. Where do you rank him?
If we're being unbiased,
he's high. He's high on the list. He's high on the list.
He's top.
We don't like Brock Lesnar, so he did his job right. In terms of his moveset, to look like a powerhouse, people are like, oh, he only does the F5 and this, that. Well, that's the point.
It's great, yeah. It's great.
Paul Heyman, I don't know if he's a wrestler, but in terms of WWE personalities, he might be number one because that man's a genius, but I digress.
I like how you brought him up because that's the main reason why I actually left Brock Lesnar a little bit out of my top 10 because of Paul Heyman. He's a good worker. Because if you take Paul Heyman away,
I didn't even finish that sentence when he fights like 4 times a year.
No.
When he shows up.
No. But here's why I'm saying that. Here's why I'm saying that because if you remove Paul Heyman away, Brock's not quite the same.
That's not fair.
He's still great. He's still great, but he won't be.
I think because Paul Heyman is such a consistent personality, we tend to overlook the fact that Brock Lesnar is actually really smart in and out of the ring.
True.
Because he can sell a move when he's told, like the Drew McIntyre. You know what I'm saying? He made Cain Velasquez look like something. Because I did not like Cain. Because first I'm a mixed martial arts fan. Cain Velasquez is just consistently injured, and I won't say wrestling is where UFC people go to die.
True.
But it's that one last paycheck for a lot of these dudes, and the fact that Brock Lesnar, and that's another thing, he's set the tone in the sense where you look at him and consider him legit because he was a UFC champion. You can't take that away from him. There's a lot of accolades he has. The same way Kurt Angle has an Olympic gold medal is, the same way Brock Lesnar has that UFC belt. And you just add to that, the fact that it's a lot more real. You add a bit of more realism and legitimacy to him. So Brock Lesnar's up there. I'm not going to detract his statements.
No. It's no detracting because Brock Lesnar, he's a supreme athlete, bro. He could do anything he wants in that ring, like literally, and get away with it. But I'm glad you actually brought Kurt Angle's name up because when you look at Kurt Angle, he was a true athlete too. But when he came to WWE, it was him more of himself. It was his work more and his mouth more getting himself over rather than Brock Lesnar. It's half of Paul getting him over.
I don't think that's fair.
It's half of
They're
Paul.
a package deal.
That's why Paul gets
that's like saying the New Day's nothing without Big E.
No, that's not the
New
same.
Day's nothing without. You can't strip away.
Can you do me a favor, actually, and just name a wrestler that you're really into, but has no personality?
but has no personality.
Like Apollo, like Apollo Crews.
Hold on one second. I would have to think deep about this. Because I usually like the guys with the mic skills. I usually like the guys that talk the trash. But
for instance, I think we can all agree that Kenny Omega, wrestling-wise, is a great wrestler, right?
Yeah.
If you put Paul Heyman on him, would it still work? Would it be good for him?
Thank you. I like where you went with that.
You see what I mean?
No.
If you put Paul Heyman, because Leo Rush was on him, Paul Heyman on Lashley, would it work?
Would it work the same? No, probably not.
Because I'm thinking, if you look at if you tit for tat, Lashley and Brock Lesnar are comparably similar, not the same, but comparably similar. Because I definitely think they buried Lashley in terms of what they could have made him versus what he is now. Lana was the worst fit. Leo Rush was even worse fit.
No. But here's the thing. I agree with you that you can't just place Paul anywhere. You can't do that. Because we seen how it worked with some guys like Curtis Axel.
Right.
It didn't work. But it's I think Paul and Brock is a perfect tag team. It's a 50-50 split. Like
a tag team. He's a manager.
I think it's kind of like a tag team because shout out
to guys named Paul. Like Paul Bearer. Let me stop.
Shout out to Paul Bearer. Rest in peace.
You know what I'm saying? R.I.P. This reminded me.
But all the antics that Paul Heyman does for Brock Lesnar is the stuff that Brock Lesnar doesn't want to do. So that's why I feel like it's a perfect 50-50 split.
Just because he doesn't want to do it doesn't mean he can't. I think that's...
But even if he did do it, it wouldn't sound right. You hear when
he's not supposed to.
You hear when he talks. Like, it wouldn't sound right.
But sometimes those one-liners are all he needs. Or sometimes not saying anything is an action of itself.
For some guys, yeah, it is.
And Brock Lesnar is one of them.
Yeah.
And Lashley was better off keeping his mouth shut in my mind.
Yeah,
I think so too. If he came back,
his voice, and you're like, yeah. I would have loved to see.
I liked him with Leo Rush. I really did. I liked him better.
Did you like the Lashley chants though? It sounded forced.
Yeah.
Lashley.
It was better than the Lana stuff. I liked it.
I agree.
It was better than Lana stuff. But let's kind of shift gears a little bit. Obviously we've been mostly indoors, and you're a reader. You reading anything new?
I am reading several books, but the main book that I'm reading right now, now that you say it, is What You Do Is Who You Are, How to Create Your Business Culture by Ben Horowitz. I'm actually, I just read the first chapter, 18 pages, not a lot. Because I just read The Power of Wow by the employees of Zappos, which is actually really important just in that title of itself. The employees of Zappos. Not a lot of books, especially business books based on a company, are confident enough to say, these are the employees that are giving their account of the company and their story. However, they make it work. I actually read 4 books last week because I was behind schedule. The goal is to read, I think, 80 books this year. I think if I look at my Goodreads, I'm like two books behind. So I'm trying to catch up, probably read, I think, 3 books this week and then go back to my natural flow. But I'm interested in business culture right now. I'm interested in starting entrepreneurship. I think, that's where I'm at. But I read The Richest Man of that. Can I look at my bookcase for a second? I read.
Yeah.
Huh?
Nah, I said put up.
I read Pimp by Iceberg Slim. The Richest Man of Babylon, Hooked by Noor Eyal, and then The Power of Wow by the employees of Zappos. That's what I've read as of last week. I'm not sure how many pages that is. Maybe 800. Richest Man of Babylon is not a long book. I think it's like 150. So, but I've tried to keep myself discipline during this time to read consistently and often. And so the books that I'm interested in are primarily on business and economics. But I do have on my list to reread Lovecraft Country, which will be an HBO series very soon. The trailer came out this week, so that is ironic. So that's where my mind is in terms of like reading.
Gotcha. Yo, Sammy, you got anything to add?
Oh yeah, in those books that you've read in like probably, I won't say a lifetime because that's a real lot, but recent memory, is there one you could pick out that's your top favorite book that you could see yourself reading again, or
over and over and over and over and over and over again, which I read maybe like one every 6 months, or 2 books. The Richest Man in Babylon, which I actually said in that I read last week. And then number 2, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert T. Kiyosaki. I think a lot of people, those are 2 classics. Rich Dad, Poor Dad are in a lot of business circles and a lot of people that want to start off in terms of entrepreneurship. And I think everyone should read that book. Just off the rip. I also think everyone, if you're into parables, which are pretty much short stories that have a religious meaning in terms of Christianity. I'm not necessarily a religious person. However, I think if you look at it as an analogy, you can definitely learn something. The Richest Man of Babylon is 150 pages. Every page you can learn from. Every page. And then the last one is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, I believe. Yes, Khalil Gibran. So there's 3 books I think everyone should read, and that is less than 100 pages. And I do read often, and those are 3 books that I read all the time. And you know the words don't change, but your perspective does as you get older, and so that's why I tend to read those books.
Word, that's dope. It's just pretty cool because what I find myself is when I get that good book, I could be sucked into it, but my schedule ebbs and flows with the consistency. But I love reading when I do, but to see your consistency, it's unreal, man. Like all them books you got there, I'm sure that's not even the half of it, but I want to get the consistency.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelves. I have books next to my laptop, on top of my desk, on top of the bookshelf, sitting sideways in front of books in my bookshelf. I'm actually trying to find space by giving away some books that I won't say I'm not necessarily interested in, because again, you can learn something from anything if you're just willing to listen. But I think might benefit someone else at some point, that it would help them more than me.
Word. I hear that. How you been spending time with the missus during this quarantine?
We FaceTime each other.
Oh, she's not with you?
No, we FaceTime each other 8:30 every day, faithfully. Nice. She just finished her dissertation for like hair, in terms of like Afro, like and what that means in terms of like, I don't want to mess up the title, so let me not do that, because I got to put respect to her respect is due. She wrote 42 pages as a thesis, and she just sent me the title today. It is, give me a second.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I just don't want to not give respect to respect to due. It is Black Affirmation in Contemporary Puerto Rican Literature. And so she worked really hard on that, and I'm really happy to just witness that work. I'm writing a book myself on finance and financial self-help, financial guidance, and I'm just going through everything, and I aspire to be with her in terms of completing a finished product and seeing it through all the way. But yeah, we talk to each other every day. We just had our 3-year anniversary 2 days ago, so that's really nice. Yeah, that's really nice. And so during college, she had a study abroad semester where she was in Puerto Rico. And so in my mind, I'm just like, this is just her having the chance to explore herself and explore, new endeavors. And that's what she's doing, and that's what I've been doing. And so when you want to see someone else win, and when you're just happy, you like genuinely happy, and what I mean by that is I don't lose anything being far away from her as much as I want to be with her. But I can afford, to be away with her and still want to see her thrive, like still see her thrive as she does for me. We both have goals and things that we're working on, and even from a distance, we're helping each other. But we are taking this social distancing thing serious, as I think everyone should, because I want to see her that much sooner. So there's that.
Yeah.
Bro, I like that. I like that a lot. And seriously, shout out to her. That I never even wrote that many pages. The most I wrote, I think, is 30 in college. That's what's up, man. That's a lot of hard work.
My economics dissertation was less than that. So as I said, I'm on it. The book I'm writing, I'm on like 90 pages, and if I was to delete that, it would probably delete the just blabber and notes, and probably be still less than what she has. So I'm in awe, and it's her undergrad, and I know this is just the first of many, and it's going to be more, and it's going to be better, and it's already great. So I like that. I love that. Sorry.
Word. Yo, since we on the topic, man, I feel like this is something we never get a chance to touch on in general on this platform. And since we're kind of bordering around the topic, why not go in? I feel like you'll have some, gems to give the men and even maybe some of the women. What do you think are some of the, because you said something that really stood out to me. You said, being social distance away from her makes you want to see her that much more, and you don't feel like you're losing by being away from her. What would you tell those couples of those people out there that do feel like they're missing something being away from their significant other? And in general, what would you say this generation or this era of dating is missing?
I think, right, so we're in a generation of access, where we have a lot of access to everything.
Oh yeah.
And it can come to us easy. I think that's a problem sometimes, where we feel like, some of us feel the need that we need to be with our significant other all of the time, versus learning to just enjoy the time that you have with that person, if that makes sense. You can be with someone 24 hours out of the day and still not learn anything. We see that a lot. Well, yeah, we see that a lot in terms of friends that you've had over the years, right? Versus a friend that you may have met in college, but you've connected with them so much more, and there's just more quality to that relationship. And I think what it is when you get to learn someone and truly enjoy the time that you have with them, that's important. And I think communication will always be key. You avoid so many arguments. I can't even remember a time. Maybe we've had an argument 2 times in our relationship, and both came out of misunderstanding each other. And because we were just able to talk and have a conversation, it never became anything more than 5 minutes of and even when I say argument, it's not like we're yelling. It's just literally a disagreement.
Right.
I told Babe we move as a unit. So I don't, everything she does, I do. Everything I do, she does. I never do anything to embarrass her, especially publicly. I never bring our business public, and there ain't nothing to hide. But
that's a big thing. That's a big thing that happens too much nowadays. People want to put their business out there.
Yeah, but I don't fault it. Some people, that's what some relationships are predicated on. If you're in the entertainment business, you might be more inclined to do so. I'm just personally not. I was never a picture guy. I don't think I'm ugly. My girlfriend doesn't, so that's all that matters. But it wasn't until I was in a relationship with her, I swear to you, I was getting pictures of myself. 21, yeah, I've been in a relationship with her since I was like 21, 22. So quite literally from from birth to like 21, there's maybe been a picture or two a year, like on average. Mm-hmm. And so now, that I'm in a relationship with her, because I think that's another thing. A lot of men don't admit that they aren't comfortable or they have some type of anxiety with how they look. I'm a lot more comfortable when I'm just to be with my girlfriend, and I'm a lot more comfortable with myself because of my girlfriend. I have no problem admitting that. I prefer to maintain just be low key, but she had me, and she number one, being in a relationship with her made me a better man because I learned myself, and I learned how to be better for her, but also how to be better for myself because of her. She was my muse, my inspiration. She makes me want to read more, learn more. In terms of Caribbean literature, that's like what she's interested in. Caribbean literature, womanhood, feminism. A lot in terms of what I can do to support her and support her dreams, her goals, her vision. Because if you're really in a relationship with someone, what they believe, like what their goals are, you try to align yourself with. They might not be the same, but you definitely try to align yourself with them. And, we have mutual interests that help. Some people don't have a lot that are common with one another, but they still make it work. And I think if you just avoid, telltale signs, if you just don't worry about what you can get out of the person versus, what you like about them, it definitely helps. So there's a lot. I would like to say, I did this, that, and the third, but at the end of the day, I think I was lucky and blessed. I had the time and opportunity to meet her, and sometimes it's just all up to that, So, yeah, I think it might have been sheer luck to a beautiful woman like her.
Word. So, I would also like to add, I can't help but notice it on social media. As you pointed out, this access to everything, and I think that could be a gift and a curse. But it seems men and women, a lot of men will say it's just the women. A lot of women will say vice versa, it's just the men. They're bitter and brokenhearted. They're on the men ain't shit. They're on the women ain't shit. Yep. What do you say to that crowd?
I agree to a degree. I agree to an extent. And the reason why is because we only notice the people that are saying men ain't shit or women ain't shit. Are you two single?
No, I'm in a relationship.
I'm a single guy, man.
Yeah, David. So, David, do you care what they say?
Nah, not at all.
And it's because you're in a relationship, right?
Yeah, kinda.
I tend to not care what those people think, man or woman. You're free to believe in whatever you want to. I just think it'll be that much harder to find someone because you're saying that kind of stuff. If I was single and I'm a man and a woman is saying men ain't shit, I'm not looking for that kind of. I'm not here to prove you wrong. To be honest, that's just more work for me.
I like bad energy too.
Yeah, I'm more of the path of least resistance. If it happens naturally. Yeah. But I'm not gonna be sitting here necessarily trying to be in a relationship with someone that, if you're saying that, you probably push someone away or you try to bring that affirmation to fruition, and you might do things subconsciously in your power to prevent a good thing from happening. And that's regardless of, what you identify as. So I think we do notice.
I can speak that because I wasn't one of those people because I'm not out there. I wasn't one of those people walking around saying women ain't shit. But you were definitely right. You'll carry it in your subconscious so much that it'll fuck up what you're trying to even give a chance a little bit. I definitely experienced that personally. Like, as soon as you let go, at least, a little bit, things start to flow a little bit more.
Yeah. And I'm not saying, like, be, like, ignorant to a situation. Like,
Of course not.
You shouldn't go, like, into any kind of relationship with someone, whether it's, like, first base, first date, anything. You're just like, yo, when is this person going to prove me wrong? Or I bet he cheats. Or, like, if you feel the need to look at someone's phone, bro, like, there's no... You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to be in that kind of situation, to be honest with you. But it, like, because I'm like, if my girl, I don't know, like, if she uses my phone, like, I can't even give an example, because, like, I will wholeheartedly give it to her, like, no complaints. Like, I'm just that confident. It's like, because I'm not doing anything. But, like, say if you're, like, causing this, like, why do you need to see my phone? Like, shit, But again, some people, they make a relationship work. It might just be more out of curiosity, like, why do you want to see my phone? Versus like a defensive kind of thing. But, like, there are just some situations where, like, if you see a red flag and you're just like, yo, it's not that deep, and it goes both ways, then, I personally wouldn't entertain it. I'm not here, to do that. It's just, but everyone's different. But that's just my opinion. I just don't know about all that. I take the path of least resistance. I'm not here to prove you right. I'm here to be happy. So that's what it is.
Yo, Sammy, you got anything to add?
No, that was the gospel, man. That's truth. All truth.
I'm sure. Look, I'm sure someone can prove me wrong. I'm sure we can have a debate about it with someone. I will say, however, if they did, they were hurt and did not move on, and are thinking of a worst case scenario all the time, and that is something I think people should work on themselves before they decide to get in a relationship.
I agree.
I think that's important. And I thought I was good in a relationship with my girlfriend, but good is the enemy of great. So I can't stress enough. I was lucky enough for her to be in my life, and I was lucky enough to learn how to be a better person with her in my life. So,
yo, if you ask me, that's a great way to sign off. Hopefully, she peeps this video when it comes out. Hope she gets to hear her getting her flowers. She deserves her flowers, man.
She deserves everything in the world, and I can only hope to provide for that. Like, yeah. What's understood does need to be spoken. Because, yeah, like, she does it, like, fam, I'm at a loss for words.
I like that, dog. I feel the love, man.
Always good to see you guys.
Great to see you.
We need a drink just so I can hear this boneyard match bullshit.
Oh, come on, man. I'm going to give it to you again, man.
And let me also say that I'm definitely going to give you this Jordan debate. I'm going to do some more homework before we have that talk.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm going to support what my heart tells me. David?
You at home too much, bro. For
good reason.
Too, bro.
For good reason.
We're going to have a lot more alcohol involved with that discussion.
David, always good to see you. So it's always good to see you too. Let's hopefully I don't need to see you guys years from now, and see you sooner than that.
Absolutely.
So have a nice night.
Have a nice night, man. We appreciate you giving us your time.
Yep.
Thanks, bro.
Yep.
All right, bro. Take care.